is Just So You Know Moments with a Twist. Your host, Dr. Jackson Dean, the Pen Slayer. You ready? Let's go. Just so you know, moments with a twist. Oh, talk show host, speaker, life and success strategist, author. Oh yeah. I inspire, empower, and coach others to be the best version of themselves. Just so you know, moments with a twist. Are you ready?
Hello and welcome to Just So You Know Moments with a Twist talk show. I'm your host, Dr. LaShonda Jackson Dean. Just so you know, Dr. Jackson Dean says, I am a speaker, a talk show host, a life and success strategist, and author. I inspire, empower, and coach others to be the best version of themselves. Thank you, God, for answering my prayers. Get ready for an exciting episode today on education and information. Our guests today are Mr. Danny Sneed and Miss Kim Mason. We'll be right back. We have a community leader who's here. He is the mental health peer specialist for Unseat Houston. He is my friend. He is Mr. Danny Sneed.
How you doing?
How you doing, Mr. Danny Sneed?
Good, great.
Thank you for joining us. Come on in and look out here and tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Well, again, first of all, I want to thank you, Dr. Jackson, for giving an opportunity and a platform. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, and currently I work for U.S. Vets Houston. It's a nonprofit organization that works with veterans and their families transitioning from homelessness and giving them services that support their transition to get to independent living and just stabilize their lives. As a mental health peer specialist, I've used my lived experience, or what we like to say is I've been there, done that, as an influence, as a peer support, as a brother in arms to support them in that transition, based on being a person that's actually used the services, seeing the benefits from them, and actually living with the results of success from it.
I don't know if you're aware, but I have a nonprofit. It's called Greatness Pursuit, and we serve as veterans as well. And I am a veteran too. I'm a disabled veteran from the United States Air Force. So
thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. We're military brothers and sisters. And, you know, I firmly believe in giving the help that's needed to our vets, our military personnel. We all have done so much for this country, and we want to make sure that they're always given top-notch information, health, anything that they need is there and is provided for them.
You know, currently there's about 1.4 million people actively serving in the military, but then you have another 22 million veterans that have previously served. And here in Houston, maybe 1 out of 7 veterans are homeless, and so society believes that veterans are heroes, and they don't deserve. They deserve more from us than to see them living up under bridges, out standing outside of supermarkets and Walmart parking lots saying, I'm a vet, can you help me?
I just wonder, where was the ball dropped? Or was the ball ever picked up in this situation?
Well, you have to look back at some earlier wars that we were in and how society became divisive on why we should be in war, who should and who shouldn't be. You don't have to look any farther than the Vietnam War.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't even around to serve in that war, but the effects of what happened in Vietnam, you can see it even today.
Mm-hmm.
What I like about going through the VA, and I went through the other day, and they have a wall on one side of the
Yes,
VA,
they have.
and it's just a bunch of pictures, right? At first, you just see these vets' pictures.
Mm-hmm.
You can see there are elderly vets,
Right.
and it's not till you go farther down the wall that you see that it says this wall is dedicated to the most deserving heroes,
Yes.
our World War II veterans.
Yes.
And when I walked down that wall, I tried to not just to look at it, I tried to stop and read the names.
Yes.
Because these are living veterans.
Absolutely.
But we all know that some of them probably on that wall, because of how long ago, are probably not here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think out of the VA, that is probably my favorite spot in the VA, that World War II Veterans Memorial.
Yes, I've seen that wall, and I love to stop and read every one of the names and look at the pictures as well. But let me ask you something. Why is the Veterans Platform so important to you? Where does it reach Danny Sneed?
Well, when I was in the Army, it was about duty and honor.
Mm-hmm.
But what I wasn't prepared for is the transition from military life to civilian life.
Yes.
I had the idea that when you served in the military, that everybody wanted to hire someone getting out of the military.
You would think. You
You
would
would-
really think that.
That's a myth.
Yes, it is.
What I found out that the things that you think that people think about us are more on the negative side than the positive. So instead of coming home a hero, they made me feel more like a zero.
Oh, wow.
And dealing with those feelings, instead of going to the VA, I ended up going to my homeboy, Ray Ray.
Oh, no.
Self-medicated.
Yes.
He wasn't a doctor, but I was his patient. But this is not being aware of that I'm medicating my feelings and that I'm set up. So the Army, when you're in the Army, they give you a survival handbook.
Right.
But this handbook is designed to survive in the woods or if you get hurt and injured. So this is a lot of good information in this handbook, but it doesn't work to survive.
In the civilian life.
It's not transferable.
Exactly.
And so
Exactly.
So just think, there was no one there. Now they probably had some type of class or pamphlet when you out process, and you probably looked at it, but the anxiety of coming home is overwhelming.
What people don't understand is that all of us went over one way, but we didn't come back that same way.
Exactly.
And so it is a tremendous difference when you're trying to come back and transition into the civilian world from the military world. I went through it myself. Some parts still deal with it. So I completely understand what you're saying with that. And I understand about the survival handbook because all the branches have that survival handbook. But as he said, it's not transferable from the military to the civilian life. And you made an excellent point with that. Excellent point. So let me ask you something else. Tell us why this platform should matter so much to us. Because, with my nonprofit, I deal with transitioning military women, women coming from the military into the civilian life to help them deal with what's going on, what they're going to approach within the civilian life. Because I know we all came from the civilian life into the military life, but it's just coming back from the military to the civilian life that you have to deal with that break in there. And so we're helping people with that as well. And so I want you to speak to us of the importance of why this should be important to everyone and not just military people.
as Americans, we owe our liberties, our freedoms, and our democratic way of life to the men and women who served to protect that right. And as a veteran, one thing on Veterans Day, and when people say thank you for your service, and on Veterans Day you can go all over Houston and eat at all these restaurants free. I've always told people that the reason why I take advantage of that day and I try to hit up every restaurant in Houston is not because I'm going there to eat. I'm going there to represent the men and women that died and weren't able to be here. So I can tell the people when they say thank you for your service, I educate them. No, I educate them in that moment, whether it's a waitress or a manager to come over saying thank you for your service. I let them know I'm not here for me. I'm here for the person that didn't make it back, that not only died for your restaurant being able to be open, your freedom of speech, your Second Amendment rights, but for me to be able to do what I do, to come in here. And so I like the idea that people say thank you for your service, but I came back safe.
Excellent.
And I give you another example because we're at the VA. If you really want to be moved about what is the nowadays veteran experience is, go to the spinal cord interest.
Right.
And you see young veterans.
Yes.
Now you got the World War II veterans that are in their 80s and 90s maybe. But when you see a guy that's in his 20s and he's on that gurney, he has no legs, or he's paralyzed. What I've been able to do, Dr. Jackson, is have the courage to go over there and not say thank you for your service, but have a conversation with him.
Right.
Like, where are you from?
Absolutely.
Where did you serve?
Absolutely.
To humanize his experience.
Yes.
And don't look at him like, I pity you and all that.
That's so important.
And so I've been around the VA for over a decade, going in and out of that campus. And I just feel so family orientated when I'm there. Being a veteran is unlike the brotherhood and the sisterhood that brothers share is so deep.
It is.
And it's like we'll do anything for each other like we're on a battlefield.
Yes. Yes.
So I digress.
It's true brotherhood and sisterhood, I do believe. And we're going to be right back after these messages.
Offers a safe transition for men and women that have had jail or prison experience. The reason I'm so deeply involved in that is because I've been there and done that and have had my own experience with the criminal justice system. So I'm using what happened to me and how what happened got better as a platform to reach back and support those returning. I don't think it's the government's responsibility and Harris County responsibility to fix the criminal justice system. I believe a lot of the things that can be fixed in it can be done by the people that have been most affected.
There's nothing better than lived experience, and so we can appreciate you bringing your knowledge of your self-experience into the classroom and teaching others how that they can move forward from that situation, that they're just not a victim of circumstances, and that they can move forward and transition to a better life. And we appreciate that for you. So what is one of your best goals for 2020?
Well, to continue to allow things not to be about me, but be about what I want to accomplish, to continue to work along other people that are trying to achieve and have platforms. Of course, I have ideas on my own, but I'll tell people, if you really want to be successful, be around some successful people, help them grow their platform. At the same time, you're learning and you get these ideas and shape, and you can help build your own platform.
That's absolutely true.
I like the idea that I say that the most famous person that you will ever meet won't be famous. And the most smartest person you meet may not have a degree. Sometimes the people that can help you are right around you. And so stop looking to meet Oprah Winfrey and let her sit down and get an interview. Hey, I see me being here as the biggest platform I could ever be on.
Well, look at that. And just so you know, moments with a twist. Okay, well, Lee, tell us how we can get in contact with you if we wanted to.
So,
maybe book you for speaking or...
So I'm on social media, on Facebook under Danny Leon Sneed Jr.
Okay.
I'm on the moniker The Encourager,
Okay.
on Instagram as Sneed the Encourager. And I also have a web page under the same moniker, The Encourager.
Fantastic.
I'm employed with U.S. Vets, so I do encourage, if you have a family member that needs veteran services, to go into your local VA and ask for those services. And our location, the entry point is at 1418 Preston Street, Houston, Texas, 77002. It's the front gate
Okay.
for someone that's looking for veteran services.
So gateway, all right.
And it doesn't have to be a homeless service that you need. If you're a veteran, don't not seek out what you think you don't need. You may have a job.
Right.
You may not need services, but you're a veteran. You should go and see what services are available to you, because it could save you what? Money.
Right. And you want to always educate yourself if possible.
And get help.
Yes.
The health care.
Yes.
You get your checkups. You know, that's another thing at my age, and as we get older and twisting into a health thing, we need to go in and have our prostate check. We need to go have our blood work, our lab work, with something that men don't think we should do.
Right.
Sometimes we find out something is wrong when it's too late.
Yes.
So it's about preventive maintenance.
Absolutely.
And that blood work, what it does is, it's not harmless, it's painless, a little prick, but they can read what's going on in your body.
Absolutely.
Through your blood. And I'm not a doctor, and I know that.
Absolutely. We want to thank you so much, Mrs. Sneed, for being a guest on Just So You Know, Moments with a Twist. We have a small gift for you.
I like gifts. It's
for being
awesome.
a guest on our show. We hope you like it and can use it.
Wow, look at that. And it matches the bag. That is awesome.
Feel like you. Well, thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you again. You will come and visit us again,
Absolutely, if you have me.
right? Absolutely. Mr. Danny Steve. After these messages. And we're back. Thank you for joining us for Just So You Know Moments with a Twist. I'm your host, Dr. LaShonda Jackson Dean. For this episode, we have a young lady who is a part of an organization that follows the 3 E's: education, emotional, and economics, for women who learn differently. The name of this organization is Women Cultivating Greatness. And the founder is Miss Kim Mason. Let's welcome her. Ms. Mason.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity to be here with you, Dr. Jackson. I'm very honored. to be here.
We're very honored to have you here. Tell us some more about Miss Kim Mason.
Okay. Well, I struggled through school all of my life and didn't really know why, and had problems with reading and spelling, math. And when I was 30 years old, which I was finally diagnosed with ADD, with ADD and dyslexia. And I was taking classes at the University of Houston at the time. But what Women Cultivating Greatness does is that we want to provide an opportunity for women who may have known that something was different with them compared to other people, other women. And we want to get them screened and to determine if they have a learning challenge or if they learn differently. And then we have a series of 10 classes that we're going to put them through to see if it will help them in their everyday life. Because dyslexia, ADD, it affects every area of your life.
And you know, it's a great point to make that all of us learn differently. You know, you have the auditory, you have the kinesthetic, you have the visual learners. All of us learn in a different way. But your organization goes a little bit deeper with that than just the surface of learning difficulties or different ways of learning.
That's quite true.
And so you were saying that you were 30 years old
Yes.
when you discovered through some testing that you were dyslexic.
Yes.
And
ADD.
ADD, that's attention deficit disorder?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell me, how has this, up until 30 years old, impacted your life?
Oh, you know, I grew up, I started noticing differences in the 3rd or 4th grade where people, the other kids would say, oh, I studied last night for that test and I made an A. Well, I studied for the test for 5 days in order to make a B.
Wow.
And so I always kind of knew that my patterns and way of doing things were different. And so I came up with mnemonics, flashcards, and different things to do to prevent me from making bad grades. Mm-hmm. Because we always knew in junior high and elementary that if you were in the classroom at the end of the hall to the right, that's where the slow kids were.
Right.
So I spent my life making sure I wasn't ever put in the slow class.
You know, that's a great point that you're bringing up. A lot of times children are placed in special ed or special training because they think they can't learn at the same rate as other children. Right. But what the real issue is in most cases is that child just learns a little differently than other children. And so we have to be versed on how to teach kids that learn differently. You can't put the same rules and regulations on everybody. Everybody's an individual. And so the same goes with learning. Everyone's learning style is an individual thing as well.
Right. And what happened is that I spent a lot of years telling myself I was dumb and stupid. I wasn't going to be able to get it. Why couldn't, and I have a short-term memory deficit as well. And so why couldn't I remember my fractions? Why couldn't I remember timetables? And so they did not start testing for learning challenges until 1980.
Wow.
Well, by that time, I was already in the 10th grade
Right.
and had spent a lot of time struggling. And I kept it from my family. I kept it from everyone. And the story of how I found out when I was 30, I was taking classes at the University of Houston because it was my goal to get a degree. And a lady was sitting next to me, and her name was Amanda, and she said, "Are you dyslexic?" She said, "I can tell by the way you hold your pencil, and I can tell by the way you're writing." And I was like, well, what is that? I don't know what that is. And so she kind of explained that it was just a way of learning differently, and told me to go to the University of Houston in the Disability Center. And so I was tested for about 4 hours, and then I was told, what they thought, about the diagnosis.
Right.
And I went back to class because I couldn't wait to tell Amanda that what she had said was true.
Right.
And I kept going to class. She never showed up. And I finally asked the professor, where is Amanda? And he told me there was never an Amanda enrolled in the class.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I still get chills today.
That gave me chills.
Yeah,
That really gave me chills. And
Yeah.
for the simple fact, I was thinking, I said, she gonna say she's not in that class or something like that.
Yeah.
But then for you to come and say, oh my God,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
And I never saw again. I never saw her again. But she completely changed my life, Dr. Jackson, because finally I had something that told me what this thing was.
Right.
Because and that's why if you look at my social media, I'm always trying to post things that are positive, because I spent a lot of years saying you're never going to be married.
Negative self-talk.
You're not going to have children. I've been married 28 years.
Wow.
Happily
Congratulations.
married 28
Congratulations.
years. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations. Wow. And so that's interesting that you say that. We all of us are believers to know that He's seeing angels be camped around us.
Yes.
And that was your angel to help you get a little bit further in life. So tell me how, since you had the testing done and you discovered what the issue was, how has it truly impacted your life positively and for the greater since you learned the diagnosis?
Well, if I was going to believe in God and a higher power, I had to understand that He doesn't make junk. And I had to understand that whatever it is that's in my mind, whatever we have, some people are gifted in decoration. Some people are gifted in math. My daughter is gifted in math. I had to understand that this was my gift that He gave me to help His children. And that I had to stop being negative about myself and try to do something with it. And so I've been holding different events in Houston since 2007. And then in 2015, we actually decided to do the nonprofit organization to help women. And so that's kind of my way of giving back to the community. And every day when I wake up, I love helping women. I just can't even explain it enough that God chose me, that God chose me to do this. And it helps me understand the beauty in what you do. And other amazing women that live in this area.
Thank you. That was wonderful. We'll be right back after these messages with Miss Kim Mason. And we're back to Just So You Know Moments with a Twist. I'm your host, Dr. LaShonda Jackson Dean. This episode, we're talking to Miss Kim Mason. and she was just giving us a story of how she overcame some learning difficulties and then just turned, what I like about it is that you turn your pain to purpose. And there's so many of us that have that pain, not necessarily the same pain that she has, but our own individual pains, but we're afraid to use it for our purpose. She's not afraid. She's not afraid. This woman has turned her pain to purpose. And not only did she turn her pain to purpose, she moved herself further with it and she brought other people with her. She's assisting other people that are dealing with the same situation that she has already dealt with in a lived experience. Tell us a little more.
Yeah, I just want people to really know that there's help out there for people who learn differerly. We have a class on learning your particular learning style. Mine is kinesthetic. You just mentioned that. And I learn better when I have a mentor and when I can touch it and see it. So with people who have any kind of learning difference, as many of the senses as they can use at one time will, force the information into their memory. So I use multiple ways. And like when I was having problems with spelling, for example, a rat in Tom's house might eat Tom's ice cream. One of my spelling words was arithmetic. And the first letter of all those words I said, which makes sense in my mind, spelled the word arithmetic. And so also like people who have problems reading and they may go over the same line several times, there's a card that you can use and just lay directly on the paper where it just has one little line, a slit, so that you can move it down and read, and it forces you not to read the same paragraph over and over again.
That's wonderful. That's even multi-purposeful with that because I work with some blind individuals as well, and they have a card like that where they can sign, and they stay within that same row by using that block sign there.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. When do you have your classes?
The classes are at the last Thursday of the month. We had our first one in January on learning styles. Our next class is memory techniques. And then I threw in some fun classes. I even have an incredible woman that does styling, and she's gonna come and style people and, just to add some fun in it so that it's
Sounds
not
like
all
fun.
serious.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's the last Thursday of every month, and the information is on our website. My contact information is on the website as well.
We're gonna get to that. Tell me, what is one of your goals for 2020? Your top goals?
Is to have this cohort, which we're still looking for women, a cohort of 15 to 20 women go through the program to completion, graduate, and we have ways of monitoring them to make sure that they're learning. And so the greatest goal for me in 2020 is to hear someone say that by going through these series of classes, it made my life easier, better.
So tell us how we can connect with you. If they're interested in utilizing any of your services or just speak with you on a one-on-one basis, how can they reach you?
Okay, so my name is Kim Mason. The organization is Women Cultivating Greatness, because I feel like that's what we do.
That's
we
right.
cultivate people.
Absolutely.
So the website is www.womencultivatinggreatness.com. On there is a space, like if you want to ask a question or want to provide information or get answers, and it comes directly to my inbox. But my email is KM, which are my initials, at womencultivatinggreatness.com. We have events through the year because all 501c3 nonprofits need, funds,
Absolutely.
need money.
Absolutely.
So we have Divas Day,
Oh.
which we ask amazing women to come and speak. And it's a day full of fun and breakfast and door prizes and all of that. So that's in October, and we're also going to plan another event during the year as fundraisers.
Fantastic, fantastic. We at the Just So You Know Moment with a Twist talk show really appreciate you coming and being a guest. And so we have a gift, and we're hoping that you'll come back and be a guest again later on.
Oh, thank you so much. All right. I love gifts.
Do you?
Yes. And thank you for the opportunity too. Ooh, this is beautiful. All right. It's a mug.
So we
Dr. Jackson. Oh, wow. I like this. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We hope you're
Thank you
able to
so
use
much.
that.
Oh, yeah.
And we want to see you again.
Thank you. Anytime.
Leave us on a positive note.
All right. Just know that God loves you. He does not make any junk. Focus on your strengths.
We'll be right back with the Just So You Know Moments with a Twist talk show. Thank you so much for joining us today, and Just So You Know Moments with a Twist. Thank you to our studio audience. Thank you to our viewers, and thank you to our guests, Mr. Danny Sneed and Miss Kim Mason. We hope to see you again. But let me leave you a little positive note. You're more confident than you believe, more powerful than you seem, wiser than you think, and more favored than you'll ever know. Thank you so much for joining the Just So You Know Moments with a Twist talk show. Bye-bye.
This is Just So You Know Moments with a Twist. Your host, Dr. Jackson Dean, the Pen Slayer. You ready? Let's go. Just so